Palmistry video regarding capabilities in designing, fashion designing industry, being fashionable, beauty, grace, desires and sexuality. How do we take a look at one's palm and come to know about these capabilities? Request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. To get a paid palmistry reading, call me or email me. To be good in something, you need to have the desire. And apart from having the desires, you should also have a particular interest in that particular field. Interest in fashion is indicated on the mount of Venus. That is the area for beauty, grace, and this is also the area of your desires. The area of Mount of Venus is at the base of the thumb. This is the thumb, this is the first section of the thumb, this is the second section, and the base out here is the Mount of Venus. Every person does have a Mount of Venus, but it all depends upon how well padded the Mount of Venus is and if there are any good markings or bad markings on the Mount of Venus. In this particular hand, you will notice that the Mount of Venus is very prominent. It means it is very well padded without any bad markings over it. Many people, they have lots of crisscrossing lines over this particular Mount of Venus. Too many lines over this Mount of Venus or any other mount would kind of destroy this particular area. So having less lines is always better than more lines on any particular mount. And if the area of Mount of Venus is prominent, it signifies that the person's interest, main thing is the interest, the person's interest in beauty is a lot. It's not just beauty, it could be just a smelling sense, it could also mean wearing good clothes, it could also mean eating good food and very rich food and wearing very good clothes. So the desire, the first thing needs to be that the person should have a desire for all the beauty. Only then the person is going to move towards that particular direction. You will notice out here that in the hands of this top actor, the Mount of Venus is also appearing to be prominent. Mount of Venus, if prominent in a hand of an actor, it signifies grace and beauty, and it doesn't mean creativity. Try to understand, Venus is not for creativity at all. Venus person may like beauty, but liking beauty is different from creativity. So do not confuse. There's a thin line between these two words, creativity and beauty. So Venus only and only represents beauty and liking for beauty. So if a person is a fashion designer and they want to make good clothes, they should have first the desire for richness, the desire for beauty, desire for grace. All these things, when in abundance, would make a person a very good designer, provided they basically are in this particular field. Let's imagine a person is making food. Now a person who is making food need not be making clothes. So a Venus would bring the capabilities in both the direction. If a person gives energies to making clothes, the person would be good at making clothes. If the person gives their energy in preparing food, they would make really good food. So people, the chef, let's take a case of a chef. A chef should have a very good prominent Mount of Venus. So if they have a prominent Mount of Venus, it would signify that the person desire to have good food is there, and because the desire to good food is there, that's the reason why they would not live without anything mediocre kind of a food. So that's the reason why they would make every effort where they can basically make good food and eat it too. Now let us compare two hands. One is the hand of the Aamir Khan. This is Aamir Khan's hand, and the other is some unknown person's hand. Now this person can be a super rich person. We can't basically come to know exactly if a person has got this ancestral wealth or something or the other. That doesn't matter. The person can be hugely rich and still doesn't have a good amount of Venus. So amount of Venus, if it is not prominent, you would notice that this area appears to be quite a flat kind of a area. And if a person has this flat kind of a area, it would mean that the person has got less desires. The person doesn't have any beauty inside him. The person is okay with, even if they are given very basic kind of food and very basic kind of clothing, they are basically okay with it. And they would be still, they can lead their normal life just like that. But a person who has a prominent amount of Venus, they would have nothing less than the best, and they would make every effort, they would make each and every effort to get the best out of everything. So this is the reason why amount of Venus importance grows for people in fashion industry. There can be a few exceptions. One of the exception example I'm just telling you out here. Now this was a lady, and she's a big art collector, very famous art collector. And to have beauty and grace, a person should have a hand similar kind, as I've already explained regarding Aamir Khan's hand out here, this particular hand. But she had a very terrible kind of a hand where it was kind of bony, and the area on the amount of Venus was also not so prominent. So sometimes when the planets are also not prominent, they can give a reverse result. It is something like, just to explain to you why even with the absence of one particular amount, even then the person can get the results of that particular amount, is because when a amount is totally absent, and it is depressed and it has got all the bad kind of lines, it could kind of increase the desire for that particular area that the mount represents. Let's imagine that Venus is depressed and Venus has got all the bad markings out here. Then what happens is that particular person who has this particular indication on their palm, they would feel the urge towards beauty. They would want all the beauty in their life, and they may not basically relish it, but yet they would kind of move towards this particular direction, and they would have the best of things in their life. But yet they, if you really think from, if you really ask them their inner desires, they would be happy even without all the beauty and grace and the good clothes and the good clothing. It is the outward projection, that is what they are projecting, that they want those things. They want art and music and all these kind of things in their life. So that's the reason why a prominent Venus and probably a totally absent kind of a Venus, both can give result. But in my opinion, it is much better to have a prominent Venus than having a kind of a depressed and a Venus with all the bad markings over it. To be a good designer, you also need to have good set of skills, and the skills basically come from the area of amount of Mercury. You would notice that this particular area appears to be well padded. This is the padded area. You would notice that there are two mounts that are padded, in this particular palm the area of Jupiter and the area of Mercury. Now the area of Mercury, whenever well padded, it signifies that the qualities, the skills are there. And if a person does have a perpendicular line on the mount of Mercury, it represents that the person has got sharpened set of skills. The sharpened set of skills can come from any particular field. It could, if we are taking a look in the hands of a designer, it would mean that their designing skills are good. If we are taking a look at this particular mount from the point of view of an architect, the person could be a very good architect, or a person could be a very good businessman. Their calculations and communications are perfect. If we take a look from the point of view of a journalist, the person could be very good at writing skills. So depending upon what profession you are, we would take a look from that particular perspective. And the good part about the amount of Mercury is that if there are less lines over it, it is going to be a better sign than having crisscrossing lines over the mount of Mercury. That would kind of destroy the qualities of the mount of Mercury that I have just mentioned. So that's the reason why less lines are good, perpendicular lines are good, horizontal lines are bad indications. So it's better not to have horizontal lines over the mount of Mercury. That would kind of destroy the qualities of mount of Mercury and the skills and the calculations and the communication part in their life. So it's not just the Venus that we talked about. Even the mount of Mercury plays an important role in our skill. And the last part is the area of mount of Moon. See, this is the area of mount of Moon. So if the mount of Moon is prominent, and the headline is curving downwards towards the mount of Moon, it would mean lots of imagination skills. And a person who is imaginative would certainly be able to bring those clothes out that are really innovative kind. Now we have to take a look from the different perspective as well. Now each and every designer, they don't need to have their headlines drooping downwards, because many designers are copycats as well. And being copycat is nothing wrong, provided you are able to sell your product and at a good price. A person who has this headline drooping downwards, they may not have that capability to sell. They can be very good at the designing part, but to sell a product, you need to have a good prominent mount of Mercury, or a prominent Mercury line, perpendicular Mercury line, and the mount of Venus prominent. So many other aspects need to be considered. It's not one aspect that we just take a look and we kind of conclude. It's a combination of many aspects on your palm. That's how we can basically come to the conclusion. And each and every portion of your hand is important in some way or the other for your success or failure. Now I'm just ending my video. Before I end my video, I repeat few things in almost each and every video. That is, we can come to know about money from any aspect of our palm. It can be our headline, our heart line, and each and every mount on our hands. The importance of money line is just 15% in terms of how much money we might make in our life. A saint once said, you don't need to go to an astrologer or a palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you're doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts and keep good company. And one more thing that is very important in our life is that if we have bad company, and if we are in the wrong kind of company, the chances are our goals are going to be unachievable, because we are not getting the right kind of guidance. So you have to be with people who can give you the right guidance and guide you towards the right path. Only then you're going to be more successful, compared to if a person has got similar kind of hand. Imagine there could be many thousands of people who would have a similar kind of a hand, but this particular person basically was in Bombay, and he targeted towards the film industry. He made that effort, and that's how he basically is successful now. There could be many other people who might have a better hand than him, much better capabilities than him, and still they are unsuccessful because they have never tried and they have never made that effort to move towards the fashion line or the movie line or any other line that suits them. So whatever you love to do, you should basically pursue that. Only then basically you can become successful. Thanks for watching this video. Bye and take care, and do press my bell icon on my YouTube channel, and do give your comments down below. Ask your questions. I would be happy to answer you.